Biafra is quite important to you.
Very.
Yeah, or the story of Biafra.
Our history.
Yeah.
What happened in Nigeria, what I call the Nigerian Biafran War, I don't call it the Nigerian Civil War, because even that is a political decision, is important to me because it affected my family deeply.
Yeah. It's my daughter, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You're like, bam, 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 bam. Did I say
that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like me because it was,
yes.
that's the choice
and it was interesting to me because I believed she was born and bred in the US. And to hear you say Igbo is only what she listens to or hears in the home. Why was that very important to you?
You know, I told you earlier about my father having my sisters in the US and saying only Igbo at home.
Yeah.
And Igbo is important to me. I want my daughter to know where she comes from. And having lived in the US and having traveled all over the world, and I know how important it is to have a sense of who you are. And I have seen so many young people who were not giving that by their parents who meant well, right? The parents who thought only English so that you succeed in life. And then the child turns 20 and is in the US and suddenly is thinking, I don't speak my language. I don't have a sense of who I am. And they come to me, they come to my events, and they're like, I feel so lost. And it breaks my heart.
So you don't want to be that person?
I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to know who she is.
So she speaks, she understands?
Yep. Her first language, the only thing we spoke to her at home was Igbo.
Yeah.
This is only in this government, with this government, that I have, that ethnicity has become a thing for me politically. I've always been a very proud Igbo woman, but it never felt that it clashed with my Nigerianness. I've always been very proudly Igbo and very Nigerian, right?
And it wasn't a problem?
Not at all, until this government. I was always the person in my circle of people saying, no, our problem is not ethnicity. Our problem is incompetence. Our problem is corruption. If I ruled Nigeria, trust me, a leader can create an environment where people feel included. And ethnicity will not matter politically anymore. I believe that even now. But this government has just really, I find myself now being involved in conversations about ethnicity as a political thing. The North.
And it kind of is starting to make sense to you.
Yes. I'm no longer that person saying this is nonsense. Because you can see it. You can see that there's a very strong ethnic component to this government in a way that I think makes people feel excluded. And I think it's terrible leadership. Part of me that likes it. Yeah. Because I love the Igbo, I love Ifendi Igbo. I don't want to spend my time saying, I need to correct what was said. And quite frankly, I find that people don't even care. People in general, because this is a time and a society that loves controversy. People will create a controversy when there isn't one. So I just thought...
Did it ever get to you, though?
Oh, being deliberately misunderstood? Of course. Of course. I think if people say... one of the things this idea of being expected to say, I don't care. I think it's a lie. Because if you care about yourself, and I do, you have to be self-protection is part of it. Of course it gets to me. I think the question is, to what extent does it get to me, and how then does it change my behavior? It's not going to change what I stand for or what I say. That's not going to happen. There are times when it's hurtful because, sometimes it's malicious. The other thing about fame is, one thing I've learned is how ridiculously, terribly two-faced people can be. And also how people sometimes forget that you're human. And how you're no longer a person, you're an opportunity to people. And
it's actually deep.